What's up? What's up? Thanks for coming back through. Appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get right into it because this one, there's a lot of good things to talk about. Similarities, it sits in a line of shoes. I can't remember the last time that someone did something like this where it's essentially the same shoe that the other one is, just different midsole tooling, different stack height. Even the stack itself has all the similar tech. So, back in my Jordan collecting days, you had the Jordan line and then you had the Flight line. And basically the Flight was like no name Jordan, but nothing was different. It was very, very similar. A few logo shifts, a few panels changed, but the midsole tooling and outsole were the same. Looking at this, I've never seen someone bump up the features of a shoe where it's the same shoe essentially. Well, I can't say never. I think New Balance did that with the 1080 when they shifted up to the more V4. It's basically a bloated 1080. Yeah, let's get into it. We are going to be talking about the CLOUD ECLIPSE. Looking at it, you would say it looks exactly like the Cloud Surfer. You'd be right. It's exactly like the Cloud Surfer. So, I don't know if that makes this a longer review or a shorter one. This shoe here, same upper components, almost the exact same features in the lacing system, in the paneling, in the breathability. All of the things are the same, or similar enough. But what obviously changes is this enormous stack of their Helion foam paired with their CloudTechPhase new collapsible system. Now, we've seen the Cloud Monster, which is the other of their top-end shoes. It sits in the same price range as this. A little more boxy, a little heavier. I actually tried that one on because I was going to purchase that one instead. Loved the white, black, and gray colorway. It was just a lot of shoe, and it didn't seem functional enough for me. Like, maybe I would walk around in it. But anything performance-wise, I just couldn't see myself doing it. No, that's just me. I like the Surfer. But the Surfer was a little too little of a shoe for me. It was a little too less of the cushioning and the support, and that collapsible mechanism just mushed the shoe out for me. So eventually I came to not like it very much. Got rid of that one, or donated it, didn't just trash it, but gave it to someone who could use it. The features themselves of this shoe being bumped up from the Surfer are the reason that I like this one much more than the Surfer. Upper midsole, outsole, like we always do. With the upper, again, there's not a ton to talk about. That upper is essentially the upper that is on the Cloud Surfer. Almost identical. I think there might be a few changes in the mesh, just tiny changes, but I don't really think so. The support mechanisms, the woven straps here that actually pull, and they're very effective at pulling up on the forefoot area right there. The ghillie lacing system is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Pulls directly on the shoe as you need it to, and it does so without any struggle or friction. Those little loops there are kind of like parachute cords, if you will. When they pull, you directly get into what the support mechanism is. Love that. The tongue is gusseted, which I love. I love a good gusseted tongue. It's not going to go anywhere. The lace keeper going all the way down is a little bit excessive. You do have to dig in to get a hold of the laces and pull on them. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea, but it's not crucial or critical. It's not harming anything, just a little annoying. That satin part there is a little slippery on the socks. So I will admit, getting the right fit across the top of the foot is good, but the slippage here is going to determine or is going to be determined by the length you go for. If you want a little toe room, you're probably going to get a little slippage back here. If you want an exact fit, I would go maybe down half a size so that everything is snug and tight. Even just walking, a little walk jog this morning, 2 miles out, I could feel my heel slip, but it wasn't friction, so it didn't cause any problems. It never got to my skin. Maybe that's the reason for the satin, is so that if you do get heel slippage, it's not rubbing on your actual skin or sock. It's just kind of floating back there. Didn't like the feeling, didn't hate it, was inconsequential because my foot actually stayed pretty snug. Insole, typical insole. I don't think it's made of anything special. Just your regular insole with the on branding there. Now, I don't like the laces. These are the kind of laces that I even disliked in basketball shoes. They're kind of slippery. They're kind of satiny. Not a huge fan of that kind of lace, especially with such good gilly lacing. Something with a little more hold and friction would probably work a little bit better. Semi-hard heel counters, not rock hard, solid. It goes up into the shoe, so like there's a heel counter here inside the material. Then there's the external heel rocker for maybe a little bit of stability. I love the little tiny Swiss flag there. Just a weird little accent that I dig. But again, we've had this upper, we've seen this upper. This upper performs like the Surfer. The Eclipse is the Surfer with chunky chunk bottom on it. So let's talk about the chunky chunk. This is a huge stack in comparison to the Surfer. Reading some of the literature on it, this is a 37 millimeter stack that drops into a 31. So it's a 6 millimeter drop. I was surprised to find out that the drop in the Surfer was a lot more drastic. It's a 10 mil drop going from 32 to 22. Again, that collapsible midsole, we'll talk about that when about the cushioning, because it's soft, it mushes. So that 32 stack to 22 that the Surfer has is not going to stay that. You're crushing that immediately based on the mechanism itself. That's how it works, is to reduce the stack. With this being much more dense, much thicker, the collapse does happen, but it's smaller. So you're getting into the density of the actual foam versus just the collapsing mechanism. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the softness because I want response. I want that cushioning, yes, but I'm more concerned with the response. I need something to kick back and give me some energy return. The Helion foam is pretty good at that. It's got some good density, some good attenuation, like it disperses the impact very well. The collapsing nature of the shoe and that CloudTechPhase mechanism does soften the initial contact. In terms of getting energy back, though, I'm not getting a lot of bounce back. So it's really comfortable. Walking in it, jogging in it is great. I have yet to feel that I can get back out of it really quickly. Now, the Surfer was really bad at that. The Surfer was mushy to me. This is less mushy. The Eclipse is a lot less mushy. Still has that feeling, but it's a little snappier, which is strange in something that has a much bigger stack. But it has less of a drop, less of a roll. So you're getting that midfoot, that sort of midfoot rocker, but that's where you kind of stay because there's only a 6 mil drop on the other side of it, and that's mainly right there at the toe kicker. It's got a torsional component here in the bottom that stiffens the shoe. Now, with that much stack, I'm sure they were experiencing that in their testing, and they wanted to make sure that you could get back out of it. That's a lot of stack, and it's a lot of mush with that CloudTechPhase component. So they're calling that the speed board, which they've had in other shoes. But in other shoes, like the initial On shoes, I forget all the models. I know that there was a speed board in the Cloud Monster also. It was closer up to the foot, which allowed the mechanism to squish and roll a little bit. Here, it is on the ground. I could actually hear myself hitting rocks as I was walking and jogging this morning. That's a little bit annoying, but it's not a deal breaker. But it did allow the shoe to stay stiff and to roll along that midfoot. Now, what's wild is they've got added cushioning components to add to that midfoot rocker. Really did like that. That was really cool. Felt the outside stability, so that was nice. There's a bit of an anatomical guide to the shoe, the way that it's shaped. It definitely knows that it's going to collapse in because of that CloudTechPhase. However, the density of the midsole gets a little thicker toward the instep. So if you have trouble supinating, rolling out to the outside of your foot, this is a high stack that's going to roll you slightly out. The interior, that instep section, doesn't collapse as much. I have a neutral foot. I don't roll, pronate, supinate, don't do any of that. And I found myself going slightly out because of that anatomical guide look to it. Just something to be aware of. I don't know that it's crucial. I don't know that they're advertising it as a structured shoe, but that instep is beefed up just a little bit. You've got actual rubber components, actual rubber pads along the front and the heel crash. So altogether, the grip was great. Had no problems with that. The roll was great. It's a fun shoe to wear. Weight, they're saying in the men's, I don't know if it's a men's size 9, 10.6 ounces. I don't really pay attention to weight, guys, because I don't need it. If any of the shoes that I've reviewed and you want to know the weight, I'll go research it for you. Just ask me and I'll check it out. But really, weight's not a huge component to me. I'm a very big runner. I'm 6'3", 210 pounds, 215 pounds. And I'm putting a lot of weight into these shoes. The weight isn't a problem when it comes to training. I'm never going to race in any of these shoes. For me, they're all training components, so the weight doesn't really bother me a ton. But this one is coming in at 10.6, they're saying, and I'm sure that's a test size 9. I wear a size 12, so I'm sure it's at 11 ounces. Didn't feel that heavy, though. The On Cloud Eclipse, big chunky brother to the Cloud Surfer. I like it. I like it a lot. This shoe is going to get a lot of wear when I travel this summer, so fitting some outfits around this is going to happen because it's just a good looking shoe. Yeah, I dig it. Check it out if you can. I bought this one full price. These are going to be going on sale pretty soon. They've been out for a bit. I'm late to the party, I know. But I get them when I get them, y'all. Thanks for coming back through. I appreciate you. Have a good one. We'll see you soon in the next one. Peace.